Welcome, my Phoenix family, to One-Footed Phoenix. Having chronic pain is something that's pretty difficult for anyone, but it's especially difficult to explain the experience of chronic pain to friends, family members, and sometimes even doctors. Pain actually has a job inside of each and every one of us, whether or not you have chronic pain. Pain's job in the human body is actually to tell us if something's wrong, and it is a warning signal that something might not quite be right. Pain tells us when we hurt ourselves or if we have an infection, for example.
The pain alarm is stuck going off because we have CRPS. It is pain's job to tell human when something is wrong. When human got CRPS, I had to constantly tell human something is wrong.
When you have an ear infection, it'll hurt a lot. And that is a signal to the brain and the body that something might be wrong. It also can be a sign that we need the attention of a doctor. If you were to go hiking and sprain your ankle moderately to severe, your ankle is going to swell up and get pretty big. That is a normal response to pain. And it is the body's way of saying, hey, maybe you shouldn't walk on me until this heals. However, those are examples of what's called acute pain. Acute pain is caused by an event or an injury typically, or perhaps maybe even an illness. For example, if you get sick with strep throat, your throat's going to be really raw and sore, and you might lose your voice for a while. But you also have that knowledge that, as soon as I take some antibiotics and see the doctor, I'm going to feel a whole lot better, almost within a day. But with chronic pain, you don't really have that luxury of knowing that the pain will eventually end. In fact, in some cases of chronic pain, it can be a really hopeless experience because you know that you have a condition that probably doesn't have a cure right now. And that can be extremely frustrating, but also an emotionally difficult place to be in because there's a lot of loss that also comes with that. So coming back to the examples of acute pain, chronic pain is often brought on by something that originally may start as acute pain. For example, you may have an injury, but then after a certain amount of time where the injury has healed, you may still be having pain that is disproportionate to the actual level of injury and where you're at in your healing stage. So physically, your bone may heal, but you may still have a lot of pain. Having chronic pain is a different experience from acute pain because it's kind of like having this really loud and obnoxious and annoying fire alarm going off right in your face, 24/7. So imagine trying to work through beep, 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 fire, 24/7. And also imagine how difficult it would be to sleep with that going on, right in front of your face or right by your ears all the time. Chronic pain conditions sometimes require someone to be an ambulatory wheelchair user. The term ambulatory simply just means that sometimes they use a wheelchair and other times they might feel okay to be walking around. It doesn't mean that they're lying about needing a wheelchair or that they might not need whatever mobility device, or perhaps there's times where they take a service dog with them and perhaps times when they choose not to. But it doesn't mean that they're lying about their condition just because you only see them using an aid sometimes. Another good thing to keep in mind if someone you love or care about has chronic pain is that there might be times when they save up all of their energy to do something that they love and that they are passionate about. That doesn't mean that they're lying about their condition. It just means if I'm really passionate about playing the piano, for example, I might save up all of my energy for an entire month just to be able to play. Because it means that much to me and it is a simple, small part of my life that I can have back again. Chronic pain is typically going to be the result of a damaged nervous system. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone who has chronic pain has had significant traumatic experiences in their lives, and it also doesn't mean that everyone with a significant traumatic experience ends up with chronic pain. It just means that there's a connection between the two. So that's something to keep in mind, that at least for me and in my life, I saw this was true, that when I focused on my emotional healing, there were ways that my physical pain also got better, but it took a long time of trying to find the right person to be able to help me through some of that emotional stuff before I saw improvement. I had someone tell me a while ago that I was being like way too sensitive, and to that I kind of was like, well, yeah, you're right. Like, I am really sensitive. Like, that's kind of what CRPS is. I mean, complex regional pain syndrome is where your body, or the affected area, wherever you have that condition in your body, whether it's a limb or in your neck or in your hands or in your stomach. I mean, some people it's in their entire body, but wherever they have that condition, it gets really, really sensitive. Even just to like air blowing on them, it just feels like thousands and thousands of knives just like pressing into them. And I know that imagery is a little morbid, but that is the reality of your life if you have complex regional pain syndrome. So just because you might see me going to church and walking, or just because you might see me walking around at the grocery store, or walking out to my car to go to a doctor appointment, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be able to do that exact same thing again tomorrow. For example, I might use up like a whole ton of my energy today and not have very much energy left for tomorrow. In fact, I might even be like negative energy, if energy could be measured like money. If you have a bank account that goes into the negative, you have to pay it up out of the negative before you can really spend money out of that account again. And your energy with chronic pain, or even as an everyday person, is kind of like that. Except for with chronic conditions, you end up spending your energy much, much faster. For me, phantom limb pain and complex regional pain syndrome also, they both had this level of constant pain, right? So my little nubbin here would be like, yeah, I'm just gonna be at an 8 like all the time, every single day, right? But then if I'm more active, that pain can go up to a 9 and occasionally even a 10. So in terms of that, you want to keep in mind that even when I'm out like looking like I'm having the best time of my life, when I'm like laughing and smiling and happy, that doesn't mean that I'm not in pain. It just means that I may feel well enough to stretch my limits a little bit. But stretching my limits is kind of like stretching out a big rubber band. And eventually, when you stretch out a rubber band long enough, it'll eventually snap. And then it hits your fingers and you're like, ow! Well, that's what it's like to crash with a chronic condition. You basically push yourself so hard that you snap, and then you're pretty much forced to take care of yourself and spend time resting. And it can take even longer to feel better from a crash than it would if you would have just paced yourself and learned how to set some limits. It can be difficult to explain to your family and friends, though, what the experience of chronic pain is like, especially if they don't see you in that state of your worst pain. And that can be true for a lot of your friends. They probably don't see you when you're having a hard time. For me, I definitely appreciate when people ask questions about my chronic pain, and I'm happy to answer them. I know some people are not that way, but as a general rule, if your friend has chronic pain, they're probably going to be more than happy to help explain it to you if you ask, with a genuine want to know how you can help them have a good life and be a good, decent friend as well. It has helped me to use analogies to explain my chronic pain, and you might notice that in this video I used quite a few of them. I've also used the McGill pain scale to try and explain to people how intense CRPS is, and kind of compare that to phantom limb pain as well, because both of those conditions do show up on the McGill pain scale. There's also a lot of like other conditions that your friend might recognize that also show up on the McGill pain scale. For example, there's like a toothache, a sprained ankle, but then it goes all the way up to complex regional pain syndrome. Tracking what makes your pain better and worse is a really good way to figure out what is helping and not helping your pain. It's also good to be able to show that kind of concrete data to your doctor and be like, look, I'm not making this up. Like, when I eat a lot of sugar, my pain is obviously worse. Or like, look, I have a lot of pain when it's stormy. Which, by the way, are two very normal things that can make chronic pain worse. I am hoping to soon have a digital download of a pain tracker for you guys, and it will be very similar to the one that I'm going to also publish in a book on Amazon. So if you guys are interested in that, please let me know. I don't have the links quite ready yet for you, but that is coming very soon. And as we kind of do these videos and talk about pain and, you know, have those funny little skits, keep that in the back of your mind, being like, hey, you know, like I could really use something to track my pain and to be able to show my doctor. I hope this video helped you understand a bit more about yourself, or even kind of how to explain things to a family member or friend. And if you enjoyed this video and it was helpful for you, I also encourage you, if you're someone with chronic pain, to share it with your family members and friends to help them understand as well. If you would like to see another One-Footed Phoenix video, click over here, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching!